Hey everyone, it's Synthesizer back again with another video. Today I wanted to get into making cool retro sounds with stock plugins and a free plugin that you can download. I think there's a big misconception that the FL Studio stock plugins are kind of basic and you can't create cool sounds with them. In reality, there's actually a lot of functionality to them, and it's about just exploring them and seeing what they can do. Today I'm going to be using GMS and a plugin called Vinyl. You can download it completely for free, and it gives you a lot of great texture that we'll see later. Before we get into it, I just wanted to remind you to like and subscribe, and if you have any ideas for other videos that you want to see, please comment below. So let's get into writing a basic song. I don't have a set agenda here, and I don't have anything on the piano roll yet, but I do have kind of a very basic idea of what I want to create. Now, I'm not going to do a full song today, but I will get into some of the basics. So I have kind of a pluck bass in mind, and then a bit of a pad, and maybe also an arp at the end. All of this we'll create with GMS, and hopefully we'll get something cool in the end. So let's start here. Let's zoom in and take a look at the parameters. So first, let's go to bank, user, and start over. Now, I want to have a bit of a layered bass. I don't want it just to be very basic, but I do want it to be a pluck bass. So let's take a look and have a sine and a saw. So on GMS, you have to kind of layer in your oscillator 2 and your oscillator 3. I'll only be using 2 oscillators here. So the saw is really going to be taking over here for a bit. So you have to kind of bring in the sine wave. Let's turn this up a little bit. And since it's going to be a bass, let's turn down the octaves. Let's start with 1 and see how we go. And I want it to have it a little bit wider, not just a basic one voice bass. So you're already getting something interesting. A little bit of a stereo width too. Now let's go to our very basic ADSR here and change that up and get to a pluck. So we want no sustain, turn down the decay. And in my mind, we're already getting somewhere here. Maybe let's see if we can turn down the pitch here to -12, so 1 octave. I'm not sure if that's going to come through enough. No, it's not. It's too subby already. So let's keep that the same. Maybe shape the filter. Okay, it's a basic sound, but let's just play around with it. Now let's go to our piano roll. And zoom out here. Let's start on B. Now I want a quick plucky bass here. So let's play around here. A little high. Let's turn it down 1 octave. Great. Maybe a little bit higher. Let's see how this sounds. Now let's go back to G. Cool. Maybe go down to D here. And then finish off the 4-bar loop and an E maybe. Let's see how this sounds. Alright, not bad. So we have a basic bass here. Let's see how this sounds with the 1 octave down. Interesting already. let's just keep it like that. Now the point is, the sound isn't necessarily shaped completely. I wanted to get the basics of the sound and then start on a pattern before I completely shape it. So let's just keep it playing and maybe shape it a little bit. Play around with envelopes, maybe an LFO here or there. It's a very basic bass sound, so I don't want to play too much, but let's see if we could do a little bit different. Upping the resonance here. Now I'm changing the envelope here and having it on the filter to kind of open up and close quickly. So I'm pretty happy with that sound already. Maybe stereoize it a little bit more. Now if we turn it down 2 octaves, it gets a lot darker. So we have more of a sub-bass sound now with the octaves down 2. Maybe let's play around with the pitch a little bit. The fine pitch, actually. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that sound. Now, one of the great tips actually, if you want to have a basic song going, just copy and paste your bass sounds. Let's move over, actually let's put it onto the channel rack here. Or sorry, the playlist is what I meant. Okay, so we have pattern 1 already on. Let's go to pattern 2. We have pattern 1 copied. I have another instance of GMS. Let's go to the piano roll again, and then copy and paste to the other pattern. So a quick tip here is to press Ctrl G, and now you have full notes, and they are ready to become a pad. So let's start on a pad here. Let's put it into the playlist again, and then do a few instances so it can loop back and forth. Now a pad obviously will be a little bit different. So let's go to user. I do want another saw-based kind of pad. So let's keep our ADSR basic for now and start shaping the sound a little bit. So I want multiple voices. Let's turn up the pitch on 1. You can hear it coming in all the way. Let's blend it in there. Play around with a detune. Turn the filter up a little bit. It's on a low pass. Let's turn on an LFO maybe to make it more interesting. Now let's turn it up to a slower rate. Let's turn it to a triangle. You can hear it coming in. Let's exaggerate it. Turn up the sound actually. So we're getting that swirling kind of sound from the LFO. Okay, now the thing to do is to shape this into actual chords. Now, a great hack here is to go up a fifth from the root. And this is not a tutorial on music theory, but a fifth is the fifth note up on the major scale, and it's usually a very pleasing sound. So it's giving us that note here. Great, so we have the chords forming. Now let's see if this will sound better in major or minor. Of course, we have to move these around to make it fit. And then end off with a major here. Now I'm not loving the LFO here, so let's turn that off for now. And a really interesting way of getting cool sounds is to change up your chord voicing. Now it's very basic triads for now, which it means 3 notes. So let's copy and paste the bottom notes, and let's go down an octave, and we'll see how much of a difference that makes. So it's giving us a richer kind of sound already. And we could also do some inversions. So take this D note, for example, go down an octave, and now we have a nice flow to it as well. Now let's go back into our playlist and play it as with the bass and see how that sounds. So we're getting somewhere already, but we're not getting that vintage sound, let's say. So let's go over here to the mixer and open up an instance of vinyl. Now vinyl is a great little tool here, and I like to change it around here to be on an 80s section. What it gives you is kind of some wear or dust you could hear in the background. Now, I don't necessarily love the dust and wear on all songs. It's great for lo-fi sounds, but right now I want to be more focused on this warp section. This gives you a cool like warping to the sound. So let's play it. It's really exaggerated now, but it really kind of gives you that retro sound really easily. Now we're really getting somewhere. I'm gonna cut out some of the lows maybe. So we're getting somewhere already with just a couple basic plugins and a free one. And as you can see, maybe it's not a complete sound yet, but you're getting some cool sounds without necessarily having to spend extra money on another synthesizer. So I wanted to add one more layer to this, and let's create an ARP using GMS as well. Quick way to create some ARPs, go back to your main chords, Control C on that, and then go to a new pattern, open up the new GMS. So this will be GMS 3, copy paste. Now make sure that your new GMS is on a new user setting, so we're not getting this weird sound. And then Alt A opens up the arpeggiator. Let's see how that sounds. Very basic saw wave for now. But I wanted it to be a little bit brighter and a little bit pluckier as well. So let's open up a sine, up the pitch here and see how we go here. Okay, so let's make it into a pluck, turn down the sustain, turn down the decay. Let's layer a saw underneath it and see how that goes. A little bit of stereo information. Maybe play around with the envelope as well. And again, this is a great way to use the vinyl plugin that we talked about. So let's open up vinyl again, turn it to 1980s mode, turn off the wear and the dust. And we're getting that kind of retro-ish sound already. See in the context? Everything needs to be leveled down a little bit. So there you have it, just some very basic ways to create some interesting retro sounds. Has that kind of lo-fi tone to it as well. One last thing I want to do is to change the pad a little bit, give it some reverb, maybe some more dimension. So let's go to the old pattern. Turn on the reverb, make sure to turn on the glue. So there you have it. Now, obviously, this is a very basic setup, but the point is you can create some cool sounds and some retro sounds just using some very basic and free plugins. Before you go out and spend hundreds of dollars on, Serum and Sylenth or the RC20, take a look at these free plugins and your stock plugins in whatever DAW you're using, and make sure you understand how to use them first before moving on to something more complicated. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.